Hi guys, welcome back to the channel and a brand new video on Marvel Contest of Champions. I am delighted once again to be doing a rank up video. This one in particular is Symbiote Spider-Man. If you've been following the channel, you will know that I've picked up Symbiote Spider-Man at 4-star several times in crystals, and I have actually added a few signature stones to him as I've progressed on with the game. I've started using this champion a lot more. I used to not use this champion and it used to be quite fun to play with arenas, but I found that some things have changed in the way I'm looking at champions and I'm finding a little bit more use for him in certain areas. So this video is a rank up, leveling, and then we're going to get into some gameplay. Going to put him against Winter Soldier. I kind of look at a few strategies with using him. Unfortunately, he doesn't have an amazing load of abilities, but the stuff he does have does make him an asset in certain aspects in the game. So straight off the bat, why did I choose Symbiote Spidey? And it's largely down to signature ability. The evasion in whole is great for the character, but having the ability that when you hit a special that you got this 38.93% evasion for X amount of seconds is great, is amazing. The fact is, when you use the character against projectile champions like your Winter Soldiers, your Punishers, and I have done this a lot where I've blocked and he will evade them. So I would probably say when you're doing any kind of evade from projectiles is keep your finger down on the block, because the champion goes into kind of an auto evade. If you kind of leave your finger off, the champion will come up with the green evade and you'll then find it will get hit by a projectile. So when you hit a special and then you want to block a special of projectiles, keep your finger down, and it means that the character will auto evade, which you'll see in green, and chances are you won't get hit by so many of those projectiles coming towards you. Can be really handy against characters like Agent Venom as well, because with tenacity it can be a bit annoying because you want to like boom hit in a parry and then damn, you're just getting hit by the L1 and you're like, oh man, that sucks, I've just been hit by a projectile. Now I don't care what people say. Some people say no, you're dead wrong, but I love him in Alliance Wars. I figure that the best way to kind of use this character is having boom hitting in specials, getting that 38.93 evasion. Also the general evade for the character is, you know, is all right, but it's just that ability that makes him, you know, really good, especially hitting off an L2, which is like high crit damage in any case, and I've been hitting like 9,000 10,000 a time. There's so many different kind of nodes that you can play about with this character to kind of make him, you know, a real asset to your alliance when you're doing Alliance Wars. One other thing that's totally amazing about this character is heavy attacks. When you apply a heavy attack, it means you get an armor break, and that armor break lasts for 80 seconds, well, especially at level 80, but 80 seconds producing an armor break is pretty cool. Even better because it is actually stackable. So imagine, you know, you're kind of going up against a real hard champion, you're then being able to get the parry off, you're then hitting in a heavy attack, and that's the best thing I think with any time is trying to hit heavy attack is parry, hit heavy. It's the same thing principle I do with Dormammu. So if I want to, and I do need to at times put in a heavy attack, I'm then putting in the soul thingamajob, I can't remember what it's called, but the same thing applies for this character where you parry or stun and then boom, you're hitting a heavy attack, you then parry again, boom, you're hitting another heavy attack, and you kind of stack that up. And it's really great because then you've got this kind of like this higher threshold for armor break that's stacking, and you're then putting in those like specials, and you're doing like, you're kind of really stripping out that armor. So that's another way. And maybe this character could be quite effective for things like chapter 1 of Act 5, when you've got again, can't remember which one it is, but the extensive amount of armor that's on there. Obviously it's not a significant amount of like reducing the armor, but with a character like Symbiote Spidey, he is quite underrated and not as used as much as he used to be. The only really downside to the character is the extent of weakness being put on. Now, with the changes of the game and willpower not being as useful as it used to be, it does mean that this having weakness applied to the enemy is still really good, kind of reducing down the attack of the enemy, but it's not substantial, and the character doesn't really kind of benefit from third special that's kind of better, and I always go with applying L2. The second special seems to be the best one to go for constantly. The first special is alright, but I think it's the L2 that kind of makes the character, because you can hit off the massive crits. And like I said, 9,000 and 10,000 damage. Yeah, pretty meaty, and something that makes this character one of my favourites at the moment, because he's back to the old school, and also Symbiote Spider-Man. Like, he just looks cool. That's another thing. He looks so cool. So without further ado, let's get this level up on, and then boom, let's get him into some fights. Now we've got the upgrade here. This is the rank 550. You can see that there's been a rise of 3,000 for health. There's been an increase around about, we'll just call it 400, near enough 400 for his attack. With regards to signature ability, not much has changed. We've got a chance to boost critical rating to 1,030. I think that's gone up, not substantially, but enough. I think about 20 odd for that one, if I can remember. And the armor rating reduction, that's gone up slightly as well, not a lot, by about 5%. It just hasn't been a significant amount of changes there. With regards to the attributes of the character, and one thing that is just so amazing, if we switch to the percentage here, 220.1% critical damage rating. That's pretty high. That's a lot. That's very high compared with other ones. If you saw my Nightcrawler video, you'd know that we compared a few champions off against the critical damage rating, and it's like 220.1. Oh, that is pretty darn large. One other thing to mention is the masteries that I've got really help out with this character. You know, precision, we've got cruelty. All these things kind of marry together with the crit rating, crit damage. And going with the ability being precision does mean that when you're evading back using dexterity, you'll find that you're getting a critical boost. So things are quite good about this champion for those reasons. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to put him into a fight with Winter Soldier and see how he fares. The kind of strategy that I'm going for is a try to parry, heavy attack, stack those heavy attacks, and then boom, there you go. Just try and kind of build up the armor break, and then put in extensive amount of damage using the L2 only, and you know, see how I go. Okay guys, so that was a really fun fight. Obviously it wasn't the most perfect fight in the world, but testing out those abilities of the champion and kind of looking at the idea about applying armor break was, you know, a good idea. I think that you can use this character. I don't know if it would be for end game stuff, but I definitely recommend this character for fights in arenas and also in maybe like some node smashing or even some you know, master level stuff. The idea that he could be used in one of the chapters of Act 5, yeah, okay, use him in one of the missions of there, try and reduce down the armor rating using that kind of method with that. I don't think it's the most solid method, but at the same time, this is a champion that's completely underrated, and I really kind of enjoy this character now. But I think it's still maybe reserved for me using it just in arenas and also some kind of stuff with master. Maybe certain characters need a darn good critical thumping, and this is the champion to go for. Other than that, it will be a champion that will be used in things like Alliance Wars, and that's really one of the core reasons that I ranked up this champion. It was a no-brainer based on that signature ability that he kind of handles himself the same way that Nightcrawler and standard Spider-Man and also Miles Morales to a degree handle themselves in Alliance Wars. You can rely on them to, you know, piss off the enemy, so to speak. So yeah, that's kind of the ruling behind it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and kind of brought to light Symbiote Spider-Man, an underrated champion that needs some love. I do think that Kabam should improve the extent of Spider-Mans for their third specials and just kind of work out what they're going to give them. Because using the third special, which I did try in another video for Symbiote Spider-Man, I did find that the third special, especially on endgame stuff, was not as effective, where you kind of think, well, shouldn't it have a little bit more kind of crit damage to it? And I think it was a case I could only get 4,000 damage off of the L3 as opposed to when I'm getting 10,000 damage from the L2 with the little ability there of the extra on crit. So I don't know, I think Kabam should kind of like really buff that third special, because third specials are meant to be the most powerful of them, but it does seem that L1s and L2s of most champions seem to be better than L3. So hey, you're gonna go, what's the point? But anyway, great champion, hope you enjoyed the video. Yeah, let me know in the comments below. What's your thoughts on Symbiote Spider-Man? Underrated character, you know, better in Alliance Wars, not good for certain game stuffs. Have your say. I've been RichTheMan. If you enjoyed this video, like button, subscribe, and I shall catch you on the flip side. Bye bye.